understanding the basic psychology of the dog you have in your house is quite important. I just thought I'd take you guys through a little walkthrough of what our kind of pack integration looks like. So we've got kind of multiple areas. So we've got Gus in that area there. He's an unneutered male dog, so he's been marking a little bit. So some of the dogs, he's been snarling and snapping or triggering some of the dogs through the fence. So I've just been monitoring his interactions, but he's starting to calm down, which is good. So I've got a split off area there that I can kind of put dogs into if I need to. I've got kind of like the bulk area with all of the dogs that are quite sociable and interactive, which I kind of constantly am monitoring and just moving around as needed. And then I've got another area in here that we utilize just for some dogs need a rest or something, or if they are I might have one dog I want to socialize or a dog I want around other dogs that's a bit nervous. I might put in this bigger area here, this sheltered bigger area here that with a few dogs that I know and trust. So you can kind of split them up and manage them as needed. So having a management system in place for like a facility and monitoring and assessing dogs as they come in is very crucial. You know, like if you don't have a correct management system. See, I've just got some dogs here just interacting now. So they're kind of, and this is like pretty normal dog interaction, you know, like most people freak out at things like this. Like they would see something like this and be like, oh, is the dog acting aggressive or what's happening? But I mean, it's pretty normal dog interaction. If you monitor and kind of regulate everything that a dog does, they become very dependent on prompt dependent, or you know, you just have them under a lot of aversive control and they don't actually learn how to communicate and interact. So letting them actually interact and mingle, you know, is an important part of the socialization process. Obviously there's times where I may need to step in. If there's a dog that's having issues, I might walk in and just create a bit of space for the other dogs, you know, as needed. But yeah, you know, constantly monitoring, making sure it's not escalating too much, but letting them interact to a level that they actually learn from one another, get a good outlet, a social outlet for each other, burn off a bit of steaming and get that exercise in. So, you know, a dog that comes to this type of environment on a regular basis, what happens is they become so used to dog interaction, and so the interaction becomes very generalized. So they're very stable with any new dog that they greet. They're very stable with situations. Even if a dog snaps at them, they understand what to do. They don't freak out. They're not nervous about it. They're like, okay, cool, that dog needed space, because that's actually how they communicate. So obviously there's a point where it goes too far, or there's a potential issue. I've just got dogs here. Humping we want to discourage if we can. And like humping itself is a form of communication, you know? Like if you just constantly kind of intervene and constantly, you know, stop them from interacting, you actually can end up with a more unsocial dog. You end up with like a dog that just becomes kind of avoidant of social settings, which happens a lot of the time with people trying to rehabilitate dogs or retrain or re-socialize dogs. They may not necessarily you know, they may just switch the behavior off, which in an instant looks like it's working, which it is. I mean, it's working in terms of the behavior stops. However, the long-term repercussions and the long-term results may not quite be there. So yeah, that interaction and that social interaction is a very important part of owning a dog and a dog being stable and having its needs met. So I've just got dogs at my feet playing. So yeah, if I'm moving around looking down, it's just at the dogs. Things you want to look out for, you know, is dogs that are competing for attention, right? So, dogs that are competing for attention. So they may be kind of jumping on you, they may be pushing into you, they may be barking when they see you, they're getting very elevated. These are all indications that the dogs may be, they may be seeking attention, they may need that attention. However, their attention levels are, that cup's quite empty, which would mean they'd be more likely to compete for attention, okay? If they've had that attention, that cup full up, that function met, that need met, they are a lot less likely to feel like they actually need to compete for it. making sure that the dog's basic needs are met on a regular basis before socializing them can prevent a lot of fights, or prevent dogs from having issues, prevent problems from occurring. That was just these two. They live together. Hope and Jed. Jed was just annoying Hope. So a high level of understanding is required in order to manage dogs of this at this magnitude, So if you're sending your dog to a daycare, you want to be looking at who is looking after my dog, how much experience does the individual have, what understanding do they have of behavior, how are they assessing dogs, where is my dog actually at, is he ready for this type of environment, These are all questions you probably want to be asking yourself if you are going to a doggy daycare or you have someone helping you with the socialization. Got little Grr. This is a new doggy that came in today. What's his name? Toby, was it? Where are you running away? Toby, that's it. So this is Toby. This is his first day. You can kind of see he looks a little bit lost, but that's okay. I'm kind of helping him out, creating space for him if he needs it, and just monitoring his interactions. So he'll build his confidence as time goes. We've kind of got our more interactive ones down here that probably have a bit of steam built up, may not get... So this is something I would stop. Oi! Oi! That would be something that I would intervene in. Something like a dog standing over top of another dog, targeting a dog, would be definitely something I would step in for and push the other dog away. And that would have been what I would have called it, me redirecting the dog. All I'm doing is I'm using spatial pressure with a firm verbal cue to get the dog to move away, okay, to turn that behavior off. So that would be a form of, I guess you would call, positive punishment if you're looking at the operant conditioning platform. However, it's just the level of aversiveness is what really makes it okay or not, I guess, would be, if you're having to use very firm, harsh methods to stop something, that would be an indication that that dog wouldn't actually be ready for the environment, okay? So it wouldn't be ready. Its needs aren't at a stable enough point that it can actually turn off. You're trying to rush the process and you're utilizing positive punishment or heavy aversive training very early in the training process, rather than following kind of if you can stop a behavior without having to use aversives or punishers. Punishment's a bad word, but you use aversives or things that turn the behavior off rapidly like that, you end up with a lot better long-term results. You have a dog that can manage itself. You don't actually need to worry about it. You don't need to step in. You don't need to tell the dog off. The dog actually understands what it's doing and doesn't feel like it needs to actually exhibit that behavior. And then over time, the dog would generalize the new behaviors, the wanted behaviors, the wanted communication that we have across a number of different settings by interacting with a number of different dogs once it had that skill set. So, just using an aversive to turn a behavior off, like I said, it's not really a skill that you're teaching the dog at all. It's just a stop. It just breaks the behavior, breaks the chain of behavior.